There are moments in war that don't make the news. Moments that happen in total darkness, where the only witnesses are the men who were there, and sometimes a dog. On October 14th, 2014, in the Pech Valley, a place so remote that even satellites struggle to see it clearly, a Navy SEAL team was 3 miles into hostile territory. Chief Gerald Hayes thought his mission was over. He thought his dog had malfunctioned. He thought they were all about to die. But when he saw what Titan was desperately clawing out of the frozen earth, he didn't reach for his weapon. He fell to his knees and wept. This isn't just a story about a dog. It's about the one thing technology can't detect, the one thing thermal imaging can't see, and the choice that changed everything the U.S. Navy thought it knew about canine capability. Stay with me, because what happened in that dirt, in that darkness, will break you. To understand the tears, you have to understand the man. Gerald Hayes wasn't born into war. He was born in Terre Haute, Indiana, a town of 60,000 people, where high school football mattered more than foreign policy. But at 17, Hayes knew he wanted something more. Not glory, not medals. He wanted to be useful. The path to becoming a Navy SEAL is designed to break you. Basic underwater demolition/SEAL training, BUD/, has a failure rate of nearly 80%. You run over 200 miles, swim 50 miles in the Pacific, carry telephone poles on your shoulders until your muscles tear, and you do it all on less than 4 hours of sleep per night. Hayes didn't just survive it, he thrived. By 2010, he was selected for DevGru, the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, also known as SEAL Team 6, the most elite fighting unit in the U.S. military. These aren't soldiers, they're ghosts. Tier 1 operators who don't exist on paper, whose missions are classified for decades. But even ghosts need partners. Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio, Texas. This is where warriors with 4 legs are born. Military working dogs, MWDs, aren't pets, they're weapons systems. Trained to detect explosives, track enemies, and neutralize threats. With a bite force of over 700 pounds per square inch, the Belgian Malinois is the breed of choice. Lighter than a German Shepherd, faster, more agile, and utterly relentless. In 2012, Hayes was paired with a 2-year-old Malinois named Titan. 70 pounds of muscle, with a nose that could detect a fingerprint of explosive residue from 50 feet away. They trained together for 8 months, every day, building what handlers call the bond. A working dog isn't following commands, it's reading your mind, your heartbeat, your fear. When that bond is right, the dog doesn't need a leash. It knows where you're going before you do. By 2013, Hayes and Titan had deployed together 4 times: Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria. They'd cleared over 300 buildings, detected 47 IEDs, and saved countless lives. But in the world of Tier 1 operations, success isn't measured in medals, it's measured in silence. The Kunar province of Afghanistan sits on the border with Pakistan, a landscape of jagged peaks, hidden valleys, and ancient smuggling routes. The Pech Valley, specifically, has been a graveyard for empires. The Soviets couldn't hold it in the 1980s. U.S. forces struggled there for over a decade. The terrain is brutal. Mountains rise over 10,000 feet. Roads are non-existent, and the local population is caught between warlords and insurgents. The Pech is a medieval fortress. You can't see into the valleys from the air. Thermal imaging is useless because of the rock density.
If you go in on foot, you're in their world. By October 2014, intelligence had flagged a compound in the valley. The target, a suspected chemical weapons cache left behind by a fleeing Taliban cell. The mission was designated Silent Hammer. The objective was simple: infiltrate, verify the cache, and extract. No contact, no noise. The team would insert via helicopter 2 miles from the target, then move on foot through enemy territory in total darkness for over 3 hours. Hayes and Titan were assigned to the forward element. Their job to detect any tripwires, ambushes, or buried explosives. Before the insertion, Hayes did what he always did. He knelt down, looked Titan in the eyes,
and whispered, "You and me, brother, just like always." At 0200 hours, they boarded the helicopter and disappeared into the night. The insertion was clean. The helicopter dropped them on a ridgeline, then vanished into the darkness. Now, the real mission began. In SEAL culture, they call this the long walk. It's the stretch between insertion and contact, where every sense is amplified. The team moved in a tactical column, Hayes and Titan at the front, 6 operators behind them, each carrying 80 pounds of gear. Weapons, 15 pounds. Ammunition, 12 pounds. Body armor, 20 pounds. Water, 10 pounds. Mission essential equipment, 23 pounds. They moved at 1 mile per hour, not because they were slow, but because they were silent. You're not walking, you're floating. Every step is deliberate. You're scanning for loose rocks, for tripwires, for fresh dirt that might be an IED. One mistake, and the whole mission collapses. Titan moved differently. While the men scanned visually, he scanned with 70 million olfactory receptors. A dog's sense of smell is 10,000 to 100,000 times more powerful than a human's. They can detect chemical compounds in parts per trillion. For 2 hours, the team moved without incident. They crossed a dried riverbed, navigated through a cluster of abandoned structures, and descended into the valley floor. By 0400 hours, they were 1 mile from the target compound. The mission was on schedule. And then, Titan stopped. At first, Hayes didn't react. Dogs pause all the time to recalibrate, to listen. But after 5 seconds, Titan still hadn't moved. Hayes tapped his shoulder twice, the signal for forward. Titan ignored it. In 3 years of operations, Titan had never, not once, ignored a command. When a working dog disobeys, it's not rebellion, it's data. The dog is detecting something the handler can't, something urgent enough to override training. Hayes scanned the area. Through his night vision, he saw nothing. No heat signatures, no movement, just an empty courtyard. And then, Titan began to whimper. This wasn't a threat alert, this was something else. Hayes's heart rate spiked. His mind raced through possibilities. IED trigger plate, chemical leak, booby trap. He was about to pull Titan back when he saw the dog's eyes. Titan wasn't hunting, he was begging. And then he started to dig. The sound of his claws scraping hard earth was desperate, loud. In hostile territory, this was catastrophic. In that moment, Hayes faced an impossible decision. The sound of Titan digging was shattering the silence. In hostile territory, noise is death. The squad leader signaled, "Control your dog or we scrub the mission." Every second that dog was digging, they were exposed. They had no idea if there were sentries, spotters. They were sitting ducks. Hayes had 3 options. Option 1, pull Titan back, continue the mission. Option 2, abort, extract immediately. Option 3, trust the dog. Hayes looked at Titan, then at the dirt, then back at his team, and he made a choice that could end his career. He put down his weapon, and he started to dig. The team formed a defensive perimeter, weapons up, scanning the darkness, while Hayes and Titan tore at the ground. 6 inches down, nothing. 1 foot, nothing. Hayes's hands were bleeding, Titan's paws were raw, but neither of them stopped. And then, Hayes's knife hit something solid, not rock, wood. A makeshift lid buried 2 feet under the earth. Hayes pulled. The wood cracked, splintered, and gave way. He reached for his red light, the kind that doesn't destroy night vision, and he shined it into the hole. And what he saw changed everything.
It wasn't a weapons cache. It wasn't an IED. It was 2 children. A girl, maybe 6 years old, and her brother, no older than 4. They were huddled together in a ventilation box, a makeshift underground chamber, barely 3 feet wide. Their faces were covered in dust, their lips were cracked. They had been down there for over 2 days. In conflict zones, families hide children in spider holes when insurgents sweep through villages. It's a last resort. The children are told to stay silent, no matter what they hear. Many don't survive. Hayes's hands were shaking. He reached into the hole and lifted the girl out. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stared at him. He handed her to another operator, then reached back down and pulled out the boy. Titan approached the girl slowly, not as a weapon, but as a guardian. He licked the dust from her face, and she, for the first time since they found her, smiled. The team immediately called for emergency extraction. The mission was over, but something far more important had begun. As the children were loaded onto the helicopter, Hayes stood beside Titan, and something inside him broke. He'd been in war for 12 years. He'd seen things he couldn't unsay, done things he couldn't undo. But holding those kids, realizing his dog could smell their fear, their breath, through 2 feet of earth, when they'd all walked right past them, he just lost it. For the first time since he joined the Navy, Chief Gerald Hayes wept. The children were reunited with their parents 3 days later. Their father had hidden them before being captured by insurgents. He never thought he'd see them again. The intelligence about the weapons cache was wrong. There was no chemical threat, just a desperate family and a dog who refused to walk away. Today, Titan is retired. He lives with Hayes in Virginia Beach. He sleeps on a memory foam bed and eats better than most humans. In 2015, Titan was awarded the Canine Medal of Courage, the highest honor for a military working dog. But if you ask Hayes what matters most, he'll tell you it's not the medal. It's the moment he chose to trust. People ask me, how did Titan know? I don't have an answer. Maybe he smelled fear? Maybe he heard their heartbeats? I don't know. But what I do know is that dog saw humanity where I only saw dirt. And that's something I'll carry forever. In a war defined by technology, by drones and satellites and thermal imaging, the most critical tool wasn't a machine. It was a bond between a man and his dog, and the instinct to protect, even when no one's watching. This story is based on true events and real canine operations. Names and locations have been adapted for operational security. If this story moved you, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, do you think dogs have a sixth sense, or was Titan just incredibly well trained? I'll see you in the next one.